This is Johnny with Tigerbomb MMA, and today I'm going to go over UFC 319 du Plessis versus Chimaev, giving my thoughts and analysis on the entire 13-bout card. Should actually be 14. There's one more fight that's going to get announced, I think tomorrow after The Ultimate Fighter, but we'll talk about that later if it's like that important. But I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on this card here. But before I do that, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the previous card, which was the horrible mugging that we saw, Hernandez over Dolidze. Not too bad of a night for me. A couple things happened that were annoying as hell, like Fernandez did not get a finish, thus killing my one parlay, which would have been awesome. But overall, not too bad. If you bet chalk, you would have been okay, minus Cody Brundage. But I went like out of 12, I got 9 correct. Excluding Brundage, I'm not including that one because I was praying for his downfall and my prayers were answered. So let's just say 10 out of 12. But yeah, Cody Brundage was given the easiest matchup in his possible life, gets dropped in the first round. Granted, he comes back. He does well enough to, in the eyes of some, win the fight 30-27. I didn't really see it that way. I thought it was way too close. And then Cody proves that he sucks no matter what. I mean, I'm still sure that he's going to try to find a way to say that, I don't know, because he fought in summer. I don't know. The dude loves to find a way to weasel his way into the win column. I'm just happy that he lost to one of the worst fighters on the roster. Yeah, as mentioned, Hernandez could not finish Stoliarenko. I was pretty upset about that. Like, she had every opportunity to do so, but she chose not to. She was just being very safe. And even DC was, like, in a very polite way saying, like, she's choosing not to finish her. Like, she's not doing anything of note. It's like, if you want bigger, better fights and you cannot finish Julija Stoliarenko, you're probably going to get stuck in the undercard second fight of the night. You might even open up the card. Imagine that. They thought that Fernandez was going to run through Stoliarenko, that they put Cody Brundage in the beginning of the fight. But that was rough. Earls Medics defeats Gilbert Urbina. The fact that he got dropped in the first round, I had Medic by knockout. I had him in a couple parlays, just money line. Oh, man, that pissed me off. Like, this guy needs to get his defense up. I think it's like Beneil Dariush just might be dropping him every time they spar, thus his chin is kind of crap. But the fact is that he recovered well. Like, he didn't get put out like he got against Puna, and I'll give him credit for that. Like, he recovered very well. He's got decent, recoverability, and then he knocks out Gilbert Urbina cold out of the UFC, which, props to him. Jocelyn Edwards defeats Priscilla Cachoeira. I was like, the commentary team, like, why is Priscilla walking forward and not respecting Jocelyn Edwards? It was almost as if, with her past experience of being a prostitute, she's like, hey, my pimp used to smack me up way worse than some of these girls. Ain't no way I'm getting knocked out by this bitch. And then she gets knocked out by that bitch and Jocelyn Edwards. So it's finally nice to see Zombie Girl get put down. She's been a menace. Like, this girl is not good, okay? She's entertaining as fuck. But when you give her anyone good, especially good striking-wise, I thought Edwards had a chance to strike with her, but the easiest path would have been to take her down and just beat her there. I guess she didn't need to do that. She landed a nasty combination. Left hook, right hand, drops her out. I don't know what will happen next with Priscilla, but depending on what they want to do with her, if they want her to get like a vicious knockout, just give her some low-level girl, give her Chelsea Chandler if she's still in the UFC. As for Jocelyn, she's got a good little run here, and she did call out Irene Aldana, and I do have my opinions on Aldana in that camp, and I'm just saying, like, here, like, I think Edwards might beat the shit out of her. Elijah Smith, now, with Elijah Smith, he needed to make a statement. There's no way he could not have finished Kazama, that is. The fact that I'll just say it, he went a little overboard, okay? He fucking put him through the mat. It was a good knockout. Frankly, probably the best knockout in this year, and quite possibly the second best knockout in UFC history. The first for me is always going to be Buckley with the spinning back kick. But to Kazama, I have to say, they need to cut him for his own good, because he's going to get hurt at this level, right? There's no one in the Contender Series that's going to come up, and it's going to be an easy matchup for Kazama. That is what he's for. Like, he is a guy to test out if you truly are UFC caliber. Like, say in the Contender Series, they get a guy that they're not 100% sure on, but they're like, hey, he had a nice finish. Let's give him Kazama. You're just there to get hurt, and I don't want to see that again, okay? That's the kind of stuff that happens when you're not UFC caliber. Good finisher, that guy, but also very good finish-y, as in we just saw what happened to him. Julius Walker defeats Cerqueira. That was the slot fest of all slot fest. It was an amateur bout, truly. Like right in the middle of the card, there was an amateur bout, and I should know because I'm judging some in a couple weeks. Cerqueira, I put $32 on Cerqueira. That third round, nearly finishing him, decent enough for me. Good effort, boy. But I joke about Elvis Brenner being the janitor of Shuto Box. Cerqueira, it's almost like deep in the jungles of Brazil, they did some voodoo to bring to life a grappling dummy. That way, Jailton Almeida can have something a little bit more realistic to bring to life, and that's how he fought. He had nothing off of his back. His striking was okay. No cardio. He's got the perfect like stats to be the biggest bum in the UFC history. And like I knew he was a can, but I didn't know how bad of a can he was because he's fighting another can in Julius Walker, but Julius Walker might be a can, but he's a tomato can. Rafael Cerqueira is a trash can. This guy was rough. And I did specify, like, I'm going to pick him. I know what I'm getting into. He did not disappoint in letting me down. That third round was fun. But yeah, Julius Walker, he proved that he is not very good, but God bless him. He went out there and he taught that bum a lesson. Now, I kind of hope they keep Cerqueira for one more fight just for shits and giggles. But odds are he's never touching UFC again. This guy was just overhyped from beating up nobodies. And he looked good doing it, but once you touch that UFC canvas, if you're not ready, oh boy, you probably should leave the country because like you're embarrassing Brazil. Moving on, Christian Leroy Duncan defeats Eric Anders. I specified like Anders can let you down depending on how you pick him, but I eventually took him by knockout. Like he's going to be too fast for Anders, and was the case. He spinning back elbowed him, knocked him out. At a certain point, I was thinking Anders was going to be tough enough to ride out the decision, but luckily, Anders covered. It was like minus 550 or so. I took him on chalk parlay. As you got to kind of do. Like, you can't trust Duncan. Luckily, he did cash out my knockout prop, but man, I would have been pissed if he didn't. But then again, I would have seen it coming, so I wouldn't have been that upset. John Matsumoto defeats Miles Johns. Credit to Johns. He threw a lot more than he normally does. Made this fight a lot more competitive. But I think eventually Matsumoto did find his rhythm, and to me, he won the fight. Should have been unanimous in my opinion. Andre Fili defeats Christian Rodriguez. C-Rod, probably one of the bigger losers. Like Cerqueira, we knew he was a bum, but Christian's good. He doesn't need to be doing this shit. He's a 145er at this moment, but he needs to drop down to 135. He needs to make serious life choices. If he can make the weight safely, he needs to do it. He needs to get a nutritionist. He needs to cut some fucking fat. That, or he needs to just admit that he's in love with men, and then he'll be happy, and I'm thinking that would shed the pounds as well. Fili, he's got the type, a body to give Christian problems, like that long, lanky dude. But I thought, for real, at this point, Christian has enough experience. Like, he fought and lost to Melky, similar body type, and he fought and lost to Erosa, similar body type. Shit, Jonathan Pierce as well, but even in that fight, he fought better. In this case, like, they're just too big for him. That's just the case. Like, if he gets another tall, lanky dude, regardless of who it is, odds are Christian's probably going to lose to that guy. He's just too small. He needs to drop down to 135. Moving on, Lucindo defeats Angela Hill. Should have been unanimous 30-27. Whichever judge gave round number 2 to Angela Hill should be ashamed. Going for a failed guillotine attempt does not win you the round. If that was the case, we would have a long title run of Dustin Poirier. Like, he should come out of retirement. But yeah, she got dominated this fight. The youth, the power. Lucinda looked way bigger than Angela Hill. And Angela, just everything that she landed on Lucindo did not affect her. That's the good thing about being an inexperienced girl with a ton of experience. If that makes sense. Like, she has a ton of experience fighting. Just not a whole ton of experience when it comes to like fighting at a high level. But now that she's in the UFC, she's fighting a good opponent in Angela Hill. And that was the perfect opponent for her to get back on track. The Amanda Lemos fight, like, she carries a ton of power herself, and she didn't look terrible, but in this fight with Angie, she's a 40-year-old woman, 17-year age gap. Lucinda was always the play. Steve Erceg, rough fight. I took doesn't go the distance, and like I even said, like, Ode Osborne is live in the first round to get a knockout, but then he stops punching after he hurts Steve, tries to take the back, tries to choke him out. Didn't work. He did that twice, and that's exactly what sums up Ode Osborne, that he did it against Lazy Boy. He had him hurt, goes for submission. I'm like, you fucking idiot. Just keep punching. Like, at this point, I picked Erceg, but hey, money's money. Whatever. Erceg ended up getting the win. He edged out round number 2. In my opinion, like, he shouldn't have won that fight. He did not win the fight. He won the sanctioned contest. But Ode, man, like, he was tweeting out, like, yeah, not bad for a guy on 11 days' notice. No, that's fucking terrible for 11 days' notice. You let him back into the fight when you were faster than him. You were able to stuff takedowns. Steve looked so out of place there. Granted, if this was at 125, I think Steve would have finished Ode, given the lack of, like, rejuvenation at 135 for Ode. But the fact that he thinks that's a good performance, a losing performance in a fight that you could have finished and won had you done more, shows you everything you need to know about Ode and why he should never be bet. Like, if you had an Ode ticket, I feel bad, right? I'm not saying that, like, sarcastically, like, that sucks. He should have cashed you out, and he instead chose to fucking look at a guy for, like, 2 rounds after hurting him viciously. That shit pisses me off. But yeah, good for Steve. They need to baby feed him. Like, he just came out of a coma. He was talking about how he was afraid of the knockout, and he was overthinking the knockout. Well, now he got over it because he got fucking dropped. So give him, like, Jimmy Flick and let him finish Jimmy Flick, and that way he can get back into, like, the groove of being, like, you know, Western Perf's biggest pussy pounder. Anthony Hernandez destroys Dolidze, and I expected that after round number 1, but shit, Dolidze is more shit than I thought. I hate to say it. Like, there's no other way to put it. People were picking Dolidze. People were taking him. I'm like, I understand why. He's a big threat, but he looked so bad because with Dolidze, he gives off this aura of, like, I hit too hard for you and you have to take me down and I'm going to play off of my back. Anthony did not play that game. Like, he just said, fuck it, you want to fight, let's fight. And then he would get hurt because if Marvin Vittori's hurting you bad, Fluffy's going to hurt you bad. And Fluffy took way advantage of that. The moment he felt zero resistance from Dolidze, like, he's hitting me, but he's not hitting me hard, that's when he just said, I'm going to have fun here tonight. And then he gave JP Bai something to feel much better about. Like, he beat him real bad. And, you know, I'm one of the biggest critics of Eric Nixick, but this was not an Eric Nixick problem. This is a Dolidze problem. Like, he's not the guy we thought he was at middleweight. Like, he's up there in age. He can get vicious, you know, finishes, but the dude is just too slow, and I think he's overrated. I think so. Like, even on the mat, like, Anthony's like, fucking try to take my legs, and you wouldn't be able to do anything. He was falling over. That was one of the worst performances I've ever seen, combined with one of the best performances we ever seen. And whether you want to say that it was just Anthony being too good, I think it's a combination of both. I think it was just Anthony being really good and Dolidze just being really shit at the same time. But let's get into the main fight card here, 319. Giving my quick thoughts on this first fight of the night. It is, as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be one more fight, but this is for the tough finale flyweight bout. No odds yet, but I'm just going to come out and say I'm going with Alibi. I'm not going to mince words here. I think Alibi is pretty damn good. During his run in tough, he didn't overly impress me, but after watching the tape outside the UFC, this guy is pretty solid. Like, he's got that same kind of Kazakhstan style as like Shavkat. Maybe not as clean with his punching technique in boxing, but the dude will spin, flying knee you. He can submit you. Really good cardio. Pushes a good pace as well. Mixes in good takedowns. Like, he just seems to be a very complete fighter. And one of the biggest, I guess, main priorities for the Cormier side of the tough team was the optics. And this dude has the optics. He moves forward and he does enough to win the rounds, even though he's maybe not necessarily doing a whole ton. For example, if you are striking with a dude and you're both hesitant, he will be the guy that does a spinning back kick that will steal you the round. He will be the guy that tries for a flying knee or try to get a takedown, failed or not. Like, he will try. Morales, the fact that in the tough house, like, he nearly lost to like a 14-year-old Mexican, not a good look for me. He's solid. Like, he's a former UFC vet, fought Eric Shelton and Figueiredo before Figueiredo became champ. He's a solid dude, but at this point, he doesn't seem to be as well-rounded as Alibi. And on top of that, I think he relies too heavily on his grappling. On the feet, it's going to be Alibi landing on him pretty significantly. Morales isn't like a fish out of water. He does have some good punching power and some technique, but the power is going to be just night and day. If Morales cannot get a takedown and he starts just spamming them, it's going to be Alibi catching him with something, either a guillotine. Odds are probably a flying knee. So give me Alibi to win this one by knockout. I'm going to say in the second round. I think the first round is going to be interesting. If Alibi knocks him out with like a spinning hook kick in the first round, this kid's going to be a problem at flyweight, given that he has good cardio, and I'm interested to see if he might possibly continue training with Cormier. I think that's a really good mix for him. Next bout, short notice bout, we've got Silva versus Diana Barbosa. Minus 170 for Silva. Come back on Barboza is plus 145. I'll come out and say I'm not a fan of Barboza. I think she's got all these accolades, but she's just not impressive to me. I think the fact that she won against Karate it's going to be one of those, like, how did Karate lose to Barbosa kind of things. She looked good there. I think she just took advantage of a very inexperienced girl in MMA. Her next fight, she gets dominated by Miranda Maverick, and that same kind of style. Well, I wouldn't say dominated. I won't go that far. I'll take that back. It was pretty close up until she started to get dominated, okay? So for Silva, yes, she lost her last fight, but that was a tough opponent. Maybe when she was still on the roids, Araujo, because after that, Araujo looked like shit. But for Silva, I fully expect her at minus 170 to look probably minus 170 and beyond. Once she starts landing her takedowns, I think she's going to be the cleaner striker with more power. Just the better technique when it comes to getting the takedowns. And if Barbosa is going to be too reliable, not reliable, but too complacent off of her back, I think that's when Silva's going to start creeping up, like, as they call it, climbing the ladder, getting the mount. Maybe she'll give up her back and then might not get choked out immediately, but the hooks will get put in, the body triangle, and then Silva will start working off of her back. Silva is more of a submission threat than Barbosa. Barbosa will try to set things up, but she for sure is more of a position type of girl. I expect Silva to actually get that submission eventually. I'm assuming arm bar, but give me round number 2. I think early on it's going to be okay. Not to mention that this is a Barbosa on short notice. Original opponent for Silva was J.J. Aldrich, and I expected Aldrich to be a much tougher opponent for Silva, but not to the point where it's going to be like, oh no, she might lose. Like, she wasn't going to lose that fight. I just expected Silva to be way more prepared, and now they're giving her a girl that odds are is probably going to be on her back for a majority of the fight. Next bout, we've got Nursultan Ruziboev versus Brian Battle. Minus 175 for Battle. Come back on Ruziboev is plus 150. If I'm being honest here, like, I like Battle a lot. I'm a fan of his. I think this is a really tough matchup considering he's moving back to 185 due to his issues making 170. But then again, Ruziboev is also a guy who can make 170. But 170 Ruziboev is terrible. He should never fight there again. I thought he had a really good chance against Buckley, but he just was malnourished at that weight. At 185, he's much stronger, but he's so fucking goofy. The dude is like granted, he did get dropped by a headbutt against Stoltzfus, but he got kind of dominated at a certain point. But you did see his ability to survive. Like, you're seeing his submission defense kind of get a lot better. His takedown defense is getting better. But that's when you are actively kind of pursuing the takedown. Say you push him up against a cage, he'll know what to do. Split the legs open, attack the hands. But what I don't like about Ruziboev is he can still get taken down really easily. If, say, you catch a leg, he'll just flop to his back. And I think Brian, as much as I don't like the odds on Brian, I think this actually could be a pick 'em. I think Ruziboev is a really tough out for anybody, given the fact that he's a prolific finisher. And one thing I wanted to bring up was the takedown defense and takedown ability of both men. I think Brian is going to push a really high pace. And like from the beginning, from tough, I've always liked Brian Battle. I call him the mulatto Bisbing because he's not particularly flashy at times, but this dude will just walk you down. He'll chip away at you, and if your cardio is not on point, he will beat your ass. And Ruziboev's cardio from his last fight looked pretty decent. It's just he found himself on his back sometimes. But yeah, the takedown defense of Brian Battle about 50%, takedown accuracy 17%, 66% takedown accuracy for Ruziboev. So if I'm being honest, I'm kind of leaning Ruziboev. It's just the mystique behind him kind of being a little absent-minded makes me think that Brian Battle, despite the fact that, he I don't want to say chinny, but he can get clocked and he can get tossed around like against what's his name? Tall guy. Oh, fuck it. I'll just look him up. Yeah, Randy Brown. I'm calling him Ricky in my brain. Like, it's not Ricky. Randy Brown. He kind of got judo tossed a couple times, like hip tossed, and he kind of struggled a bit with the height and length of Randy, but eventually Randy slowed down and he kind of played the game of Brian Battle, which at that point was going for the clinch. He couldn't land on him cleanly because Randy's head movement was too good. And then Brian just said plan B, clinch him up against a cage and knee him to the body. So I think the IQ of Battle is enough to kind of win him the fight. It's just that danger initially. He's going to need to push a nasty pace on Ruziboev and try to take him down. It's just there's a ton of danger. So for me, I think it's a dog or pass situation on Brian Battle because, again, he's moving back up to 185 as a bit of a punishment, right? You can't make 170, you're missing weight. Let's give you a really high finisher with like a lot of experience. So Ruziboev is a guy I've seen lose a ton, but once you hit a certain point in the UFC, you got more money to spend on better training partners, better training. So I think he's pretty live here, but out of sheer nut huggery, I'm going with Brian Battle and expect to hear nut huggery later in the co-main event. Give me Brian Battle by a decision here. I think if he plays it smart, he can definitely edge it out, but it's going to be close. I think these odds are a little off. I think Brian, despite me being a fan of his and pretty high on him, he might be getting overvalued here. Next bout, we've got Edson Barboza versus Drakkar Klose. I'm going Barboza knockout, say first round. I'm not going to talk too much about it. Like Drakkar Klose, plus 130. Man, this is not a younger Drakkar. Like, this could be Drakkar Klose's like swan song. If he can beat Barboza, who he found the fucking time machine because he's not looking bad. Like, he's still jacked as hell. He's moving back up to lightweight after a pretty decent run at 145. Putting on some more weight. He's going to hopefully still have that durability that he's kind of had. Drakkar, good wrestler, good low kicks. This is Barboza we're talking about, so those low kicks aren't going to do shit to him. It all comes down to nothing else matters other than what I've been seeing from Drakkar. And the optics on Drakkar are god-awful. This guy's getting hit. Granted, it's really hard hitters, but he's wobbling. He's doing the chicken dance. He's getting put out like horribly. And if Edson can land on you, Edson's shown more heart now than he has in a long time. If Edson lands on you, it's not going to be pretty for Drakkar Klose. So thus, give me Edson by knockout. I'm not overthinking this shit. I think Drakkar's always been a solid dude, a solid hand, that he can beat a lot of dudes in the UFC given his style, like kind of pressure and decent heavy hands, good low kicks. But the fact is, when you start doing that chicken dance, this resembles too much of Kevin Lee to me, a guy who actually a guy who beat Barboza, but even in that fight, he did the chicken dance, and I kind of expect this to be Edson Barboza to vicariously getting a knockout over Kevin Lee via Drakkar Klose. So give me a Barboza knockout. Next bout, we've got Anthony Hernandez here versus Chase Hooper. Now, I hate the odds on Chase. He's minus 290. Come back on Hernandez is plus 240. But the thing is, this is a horrible matchup for Hernandez. This is man, Jesus. What we know about Hernandez is he's talented. Second round comes out. If he's tired, you're absolutely screwed. Chase Hooper is no longer that same kid that is going to get bullied around. He's got power in the hands. He's got decent overall stand up with his karate type of style. We know his jiu-jitsu's nasty. Hernandez should not take this to the mat because he might get caught in a triangle. He's going to need to really beat up Chase early, but Chase does have decent durability. But to me, this is a Chase Hooper, like, quite possibly could be a very easy victory for him. Now, for Alex, I defended him in his last fight when he fought that aging jiu-jitsu Kurt Holoba. Man, he did not look good in that fight. Like, he edged it out. The judges gave it to him, but Kurt was putting it on him, and we saw the same glimpses of Hernandez kind of panicking and not really knowing what to do. Granted, he is training with a pretty decent substitute for Chase Hooper in, I guess they're BFF now, him and Brandon Royval. But this is a bigger dude. He's pretty vicious. I don't see how Chase loses other than like a freak knockout. You know what I mean? Like, Hernandez can do that. But Hernandez is another one of these guys that he is a 100% confidence kind of fighter. If he doesn't have that confidence in himself, he can't control his breathing. If he can't control his breathing, he gasses out. If he gasses out, he gets brutally finished. Give me Chase Hooper by submission round number 2. I think it's going to be a standard fight between both men where Chase Hooper might actually get takedowns on Hernandez, take his back, pound him out a little bit, get the rear naked choke. Next bout. Now, this fight I was kind of struggling with for specific reasons, but we got Jessica Andrade moving back down to strawweight versus Lupita Godinez. Odds have it minus 175 for Godinez. Comeback on Andrade is plus 150. This is a huge letdown spot for Godinez and anyone who still values Godinez for any possible reason. The thing about Godinez is her nickname is pretty accurate. Now, Lupita, I get she moved to Canada. They call her Loopy because, it's so cute, but it's not because that's the reason why it's a perfect nickname. It's because she's loopy in the brain. This girl can look amazing, better than ever, and then somehow find a way to quite possibly literally shit the bed. Her last fight, I don't want to get into the nickname, the poopy Godinez stuff, but like she had to go to the restroom and she started looking pretty bad fighting a girl in Plessis, who, granted, Plessis a solid girl, and I actually would favor her to beat Jessica Andrade because Andrade herself is nearing the end of her career, even though she's only 33, former champion, but this girl's not been looking good. Granted, again, higher weight class, higher competition, but Godinez can easily win this fight. She has all the tools to win this fight. She's got the wrestling background. She's just as strong as Jessica Andrade, decent boxing, but man, I just cannot trust Godinez at all. I will pick her to win, right? I'm going to take her by decision. I think this is going to be one of those, like, Lupita's going to look good, then look bad, and then get a takedown and then edge it out. But Andrade is live here, primarily for the reason that Godinez can fall off a cliff and just start looking terrible. It's been her MO for a while. Like, she too talented, but I think it's the issue that she trains with a bad gym for her. Lobo Gym, for the longest time, has kind of been a cancer to some of these women. It's like, yeah, we won a title here. We fought for a interim belt, or we fought for the actual title in Diego Lopez, but at a certain point, like, you're no longer evolving, you're no longer getting the looks that you need, and you stay complacent, and you start looking horrible. Like, she's got good boxing, and given certain level of competition, Godinez is going to run through them. And there's a chance she can do that here against Andrade. Like, Andrade is, again, She hits hard, but her takedown defense has been going to shit. When you stand up to her, she tends to kind of crumble a bit. She doesn't like to get hit herself. And when she kind of gets that power landing on her, she'll make some pretty questionable decisions, but can't trust either woman. So give me Godinez for the main reason is that I have not seen her snatch on the internet. Give me Godinez by decision. Next bout, we've got Gerald Meerschaert versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Minus 230 for Oleksiejczuk. Come back on Meerschaert plus 190. You know, Meerschaert's always going to be live, but let me just tell you one thing. I saw a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with hardly any kickboxing go to the Fighting Nerds and 30-27 Tresean Gore. For that reason, I'm putting a ton of faith in that camp. Caio Borralho, I think, is one of the smarter dudes in the UFC when it comes to game planning. And the fact that Mikhail went to his former opponent and said, hey, I need to train with you because I need to get better. And, you know, the Dumas fight was nothing more than a confidence builder for Mikhail. But we know what he needs to work on, which is stuff takedowns and land on Gerald. And I think he can knock out Gerald. It's going to be risky, but this fight, I don't often say if a fight goes the distance, I'll cut my cock off, but I'd be very surprised that if this fight goes the distance, I might just have to cut my cock off to keep face. But I don't expect this to go all three. I expect this to be either Mikhail knocks him out in the first two with that nasty pressure, attacks to the body, and just overall nastiness of this guy, or he's going to get taken down and Gerald's going to work his ground game and choke him out. One of the two. My money's probably going to be on the fact that it's going to be a TKO for Mikhail. I think it's just avoiding getting against the cage, putting that pressure on Gerald. Gerald is pretty slow, but he's very dangerous. If you can't put him out, like Gerald is the opposite of a guy like Cody Brundage. Like, that's why you got to respect Gerald. He's got the most submissions in the UFC and middleweight history, I believe. The fact is, you can hurt Gerald in certain cases for Cody. Like, he's done. Like, he'll find a way to give you the back of his head. Gerald would get back up after getting hurt, and then he slowly starts picking you apart. Like, he is a fighter, and that's what you got to respect about a guy like Gerald at whatever age he's fighting. But give me the younger man here, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk by first-round knockout. I think he finds that early. Next bout here. Still in the prelims, I see. We've got King Bobby Green versus Diego Ferreira. Plus 170 for Green. Come back on Ferreira minus 200. Now, this is two older men getting into a fist fight, and neither man has really looked incredibly impressive as of late. Granted, Bobby's been getting finished poorly, really badly. His last fight, not much to really say. Like, I'm not going to hold against him that he got spinning back kicked into oblivion, or as I like to say, into a Bolivian. Because, Jesus, like, that was one of the nastiest knockouts I've ever seen, and Bobby just fucking video game physics and fell over. Diego's pretty slow. This is a very good matchup for both men. I do think that King Green is decently live because he does have better boxing. He's got better reaction speed. Like, he still sees things very well. Like, he can stuff takedowns, and he can definitely block and avoid low kicks, which is what Ferreira's going to need to do to slow down Green. It's that the durability of Bobby is looking really bad. And not only that, it's his reactions as of late. Now, it's not just the fact that he got knocked out and he was really hesitant against Mauricio Hufi, because who wouldn't be? But the awkwardness that he had against Paddy Pimblett, where he shot in for a takedown and got choked out, that kind of stuff. That's like really bad signs that maybe Bobby Green is maybe not doing as well in the gym anymore. Maybe his reactions, which he so heavily relies on, his head movement, is kind of failing him. And Ferreira, for the very least, he has good punching power. I think he can crack Bobby, and if not, knock him out, get him to the ground, take his back, and work his nasty jiu-jitsu from there. This dude is legit. It's just, you can't really trust. To me, this is like a big pass fight. Let me just enjoy these two guys going at it. I don't want to call them legends of the sport, but like highly regarded lightweights in MMA and the UFC, and let's see who the better man is. But I'm going to have to go with Ferreira. For the main reason is I think the threat of the knockout might be there. He's going to be more than likely missing on those overhand rights and those big shots, but I think Bobby's going to be a little too hesitant. But if Bobby starts getting that swag and gets that timing, I think he can take over. Because Ferreira, man, when we see him fighting against Michael Johnson, which the only reason I would want Bobby Green to win is so we can get a Michael Johnson versus Bobby Green fight. I think that'd be fucking dope. But when we see Ferreira versus Johnson's putting it on him. Like, he's avoiding everything until he landed that big shot. But it was not a clean shot, man. Like, it landed clean, but it was an ugly fucking overhand right from like a mile away. But yeah, give me Ferreira to win this one by a decision. I think it's going to be a very honest back and forth fight between two dudes, highly experienced. But I think that Ferreira's going to edge it out. I think he'll start landing the low kicks, and I think he'll start pushing the pace, and maybe he has to at one point bite down to the mouthpiece and try to Drew Dober King Green against the cage. But yeah, give me Ferreira by a decision here. Next bout, main card opener. God bless you, Tim Elliott, for taking this fight against Kai Asakura. Asakura's going to knock him out in the first round. This is a thank you fight for Asakura. Now, I like Tim. Tim's a bad dude. Like, he will fight anyone, anytime. Like, he's proven that. There's no doubt in my mind that this guy's got the guts, and he's going to try to win this fight. He's not coming out here just to take a, how can I put this? He's not going to follow in his former teammates' footsteps and take a dive in Mr. Minner. But this dude's going to come out here, and I truly believe that he believes he can beat Kai Asakura. It's just unfortunate that he actually has to fight Kai. Kai's minus 285. Comeback on Tim is plus 235. Kai has been fighting this kind of opponent for a while. He fought the much better version, I should say, of Tim Elliott in Pantoja. And now he's got Tim Elliott to worry about, which he's funky, he's awkward, decent enough striker, but Kai is just too nasty, okay? Like, I don't even want to get into it. He's going to knee him to the gut. He's going to knee him. Some sort of knee is going to connect on Tim Elliott, and it's not going to be a good night for Tim. Props to Tim, though. Like, I hope he makes this his fight for as long as he can, but I think Kai is rightfully so. Like, he's a top 10 flyweight at this point. They're just giving him a thank you. Like, hey, I appreciate you coming in, taking your first L against Pantoja. Let's give you a nice little gift wrap here in Tim Elliott. Now, I will say, Tim is a scrapper. If he finds a way to beat Kai Asakura, this is not one of these like, oh my God, like Kai sucks. No, Kai is good. It's just that Tim found a way. Tim can find a way to beat anybody if he grabs a glove or something. But anyways, give me Kai by knockout in the first round. More than likely some sort of knee variant. Knee to the body, knee to the chin. Next bout, we've got Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page at 185. This fight has been giving me fits because the odds are in the favor of Michael Page, minus 175. Come back on Cannonier, plus 155. Very much so like the Bobby Green fight. It's primarily the optics of Jared Cannonier that's leaning me to go with Michael Page. I will not be betting this fight. I'm just going to see this fight play out as an experiment because Page at 185, it could be great for him. It could be that he's just going to be too fast for these middleweights, or it's going to be that he's too small for these middleweights. I don't know quite yet. Because Cannonier is a bad dude. Like, he is a guy that you count out so much, but you don't really appreciate how skilled he's become. Like, former heavyweight, former light heavyweight, finally like found his perfect home at middleweight. The dude carries a ton of power, has a ton of experience. He's a big guy, trains with a good camp at the lab. No doubt in my mind he's going to try to clinch up with Michael, take him down and pound him out, which he can definitely do. But if he can't get a hold of Michael's going to be popping him. Michael's going to be clowning him. Michael's not necessarily known for his best chin. It's not like he's got a terrible chin. It's just he's super hard to land on. The way I see this fight going is I do think Michael Page is going to be landing some good shots on Jared. I think Jared is going to try to get some respect early before he starts shooting in for the takedowns. But given the fact that Michael's just going to be too quick, the optics I've been seeing from Jared Cannonier as of late have been god-awful. Like, I go back to the Caio Borralho fight. Caio hit him with a clean 1-2, and it put his lights completely out. The fact that he followed up with punches in the 5th round, granted, yeah, that was a 5-round war between those two. It's just that sometimes the light punches that hit Cannonier are the ones that actually hurt him the absolute most. And I don't know why. And given that Michael Page is a sniper, if he cleanly hits him with a 1-2, I'd be so worried having a ticket on Jared. And he's just wobbling all over again. And Michael can put out the show. Like, he's not going to be one of these guys that's going to, like, follow up with punches when he knows you're done. Because if Jared hits the mat, they're probably going to call it. Like, Michael's just going to stand there with his hands on his hips and taunting him, and it's going to pressure fucking Herb Dean or whoever to stop the fight. Because I look back at that Kyle fight. If Kyle would have just done that, just like taunted, as literally Jared's falling over like a tree, they would have called that a clean knockout. But the fact that he punched him, and Jared he's got a good recovery, it woke him back up, and he kept fighting. That's the one absolute highlight of Jared, is that you have to make sure he's out. Or in certain cases, just don't hit him and wake him up. But give me Page I'm going to go with knockout. I think he can hurt Jared. It's just, again, I think Jared is not a guy you want to bet against at times. It has to take a guy that is on a good trajectory, that you know is got all the skills, the cardio, and all that. Given that this is a 3-round fight and not a 5-round fight, I think it definitely goes in the favor of Michael Page. So give me Page by second round TKO. Next bout, we've got Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Minus 245 for Prates. Come back on Neal. Plus 210. Now, from the beginning, when I saw this matchup, I kind of was dreading it, because this was prior to Prates getting that main event with Ian Gary, where he, kind of shit the bed a little bit. The thing with Neal, he's incredibly dangerous. He's got nasty power, very good boxing. He's a southpaw, and he's plus 210. So I think, if I'm being honest, like, there's a chance here that he can probably land on Prates. Like, Prates is not particularly known for his great boxing, but he's known for his, like, relentless pressure, his Muay Thai, and in certain cases he does have really good jiu-jitsu. You just don't see it because you're probably knocked out when you hit the ground. So it's going to be a good fight. I think I think Prates might be a bit overpriced, and this is not me saying this like being a little bitch, saying, well, he lost to a guy in Jeff Neal. Like, that kind of shit is not what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to give Jeff his proper respect. I think Jeff, even without the loss to Ian Gary for Prates, even then I still think this would have been a really tough fight for Prates, where he more than likely was going to edge it out, because I do think he's a cleaner striker from the outside. On the inside, Jeff Neal is an absolute menace. So I think this could potentially be, if both men's chins hold up, candidate for fight of the year. I'm not just saying that. Like, these two dudes are going to go at it. Like, Prates does worry me, because sometimes he does get landed on the chin pretty clearly. I go back to the fight, his UFC debut against Trevin Giles, who he himself always had decent boxing, and he was landing really clean on Prates up until Prates started taking over, and he landed cleanly on him. But this is not Trevin Giles. Jeff has a solid-ass chin. He's never been knocked out, other than, I guess, getting TKO'd by Kevin Holland back in the day. The dude can take a shot. So give me Prates, mainly just by being smarter. Again, I'm putting a ton of faith in that Fighting Nerds camp to have, like, really intelligent game plans here. But given the fact that Prates did kind of shut the bed that last fight, couldn't finish Gary, I think it's going to be a decision here. I think it's going to be really tough to put Jeff Neal out, but when Prates is in that flow state and he starts moving like a predator, if he puts Jeff Neal out, man, that's incredible. So I would advise probably stay away from this matchup, okay? Like, I do value Neal's ability to take a shot and to give a shot, but that plus 210 is looking mighty fine if you're on that Neal side. Next bout, we've got the co-main event here. Lerone Murphy versus the debut of Aaron Pico here. Aaron Pico, if you don't know, odds are you do. Former Bellator guy. I saw this kid's debut where he got choked out by that Freeland guy, I believe, and I was fucking laughing my ass off. Like, oh, this guy was overhyped. Like, he gets choked out and gets hurt. And that's the thing about Aaron Pico. A couple things you need to know about him. Aaron Pico, kind of a weird chin. Aaron Pico, devastating boxing, like disgusting boxing. This filthy. Like, Think of the worst type of pornography you've ever seen. It's filthier than that. And his wrestling, he's a high-level wrestler. I'll get back to Pico and what I think about him. Minus 135 on him. Lerone Murphy, undefeated in the UFC, has fought high-level competition in the UFC. It's a big difference between Bellator and the UFC. We've made that clear watching some of these guys transition. The truth is, Aaron is that good. Aaron is a guy that can just waltz right in here and compete with the best. The issue with Aaron, though, is, as I mentioned, he does kind of have a bad chin, but the biggest factor to that was his inexperience in certain situations. I don't think he was training with the correct people for MMA. He would get overzealous. He would imagine being in your early 20s, like 19, 20, and you hit guys and they go completely out because you not only have the power but the technique. Like, you're so confident in your skills that you're like, nothing can hurt me. But then things started to hurt him. So let me get into his losses, because his losses tell a bit of a story. Because his first loss was the most telling, right? Like, he was just way overconfident. He was put in a position with a much bigger guy, and he wasn't ready to make his debut in MMA. And Zach Freeland choked him out. After that, he went on a nasty finishing streak. And then they give him Henry Corrales. Corrales, not a bum, okay? Like, this guy's solid dude. Take a shot. But he hurts Corrales. He tries to drag him into a firefight so he can knock him out clean. Because, again, when he hits people, they go down. He gets cracked because he's like too wild, and he gets knocked out against Adam Borix. Borix is known as a flying knee guy, and that's exactly what landed on him. He went from like, I can't keep taking shots like this and getting knocked out. Let me try wrestling some more. But then he overcorrected, and he started wrestling way too much. Kept his head down. He got flying kneed and knocked out. At a certain point, like, he started training, I believe, with Jackson Wink, and say what you will about Jackson Wink, they at least have some experience. They kind of talked to him like, yo, we need to fix some of these issues. And lately, you started seeing that run. He went undefeated for a while, just finishing everybody. But then he got his shoulder popped out by a freak accident. It sucks. Like, Jeremy Kennedy, during that fight, his shoulder popped out. He wanted to continue to fight. Like, he should have beat Jeremy. He would have beat Jeremy. It's just freak shit like that happens. And now we're here. We're in the UFC. He's 13-4, highly talented, but now he's fighting a legit man in Lerone Murphy. So it just makes you wonder. And I know the odds have been completely on the side of Pico. Like, money's been coming in on Pico. He's at minus 190 here. And I'd be lying if I wasn't going to say that I think Murphy's a huge threat to that. Not because I think he is better than Pico. I think it's just more so, the best way I can put it to you guys, when you've been in the cage with that kind of high-level competition and you've won decisions, you know what the judges kind of want to see. You know what I mean? Like, even if, say, Pico takes him down and holds him there, if he can get back up, which I think Lerone's decent enough at this point to get back up. He did it against his last opponent in, I'm blanking out, Josh Emmett. But even in that fight, he kind of went to a split, which I was highly confident. I maxed bet Lerone Murphy after round number 4. I'm like, this guy's got it in the bag. I don't know why the odds are so close. He was like minus 300, and he went to a split. I was like, oh, shit. The thing with Murphy is that he's more experienced at winning decisions like that, like optics-wise. Like, he's got the good footwork. He's got probably better striking for MMA, given like he can kick from a farther away distance. His feints are pretty good. The thing is that if Pico mixes in takedowns and Pico starts landing to the body, oh man, I'm just highly, highly excited for Aaron Pico. And why I'm like on the fence is that I am one of the very few people in the MMA verse that like stands the shit out of Aaron Pico, win or lose. Let me tell you something. Like, I grew up in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, where I grew up, the specific location around Mid-City, there was a street. It's named Pico, and that's legitimately named after Aaron Pico's like great-great-grandfather, Pio Pico. There's a fucking middle school named after this guy's fucking family. So to me, this guy's legitimately royalty of where I fucking grew up. And to see this kid be that good, but sometimes show some like questionable decision making, it's rough. But like, I stand the fuck out of Aaron Pico, and I do think he's got a very good chance to win. But I do think at this point, at these odds, it's getting completely overblown. And given the fact that he can be a bit fragile, it does sway me here. I'm gonna pick Aaron Pico, no doubt. Like, I have to. Like, it would be, I can never show my face in the hood again. I'm gonna have to take Pico. I think he 100% can knock out Lerone Murphy. I think he can hold him down, submit him, pound his ass out. He is very fucking good. It's just, again, if for whatever reason something happens, like, this is Pico's debut, and if he was a dog, I'd be on that all day, every day. But at this point, he's nearly a 2-1 favorite. I can't condone picking him. I think I kind of have to, for the very least, take a shot on Lerone Murphy if he ends up pulling this out. I do think Lerone Murphy can be a bit overrated. I think he has a very good style to beat certain level of competition. But where is Pico at this point? He hasn't fought since what? How many years? A year and a half. I think overall Pico's way better than Lerone Murphy. But at this very moment, where is Pico at? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to take Pico by knockout. This is the fight for me. This is the most anticipated fight for a fucking LA stand boy for Aaron Pico this whole year. This is like the shit I want to watch. I'm going to probably watch it with my pants down. And I expect it to be a good fight. And I'm expecting Aaron to chill out. Like, I need him to show how good he is. Because if you haven't experienced what he can do, just look at his highlights. It's just, again, he's a mythical fighter. He's a mythical, mythical hero, Achilles. He is literally Achilles. This guy's perfect everywhere. Perfect fucking specimen. Perfect at boxing, perfect wrestling, but he's got the Achilles heel, which is sometimes his chin can get cracked and sometimes his body falls apart. But yeah, for that reason, give me Aaron Pico by TKO in the second round. I do think he can land on Murphy. The way he throws his hooks, fucking filthy. And I think he can land on Lerone Murphy and knock him out. But I think at this point, it is a bit of a dog or pass betting-wise. Now we've got the main event here. After sucking off Aaron Pico over here, gladly, my liege. But we've got Dricus du Plessis, who is plus 170, the current champion. This is his third title defense. And now he's fighting Khamzat Chimaev in Chicago, in the United States. And he is minus 210. I'm not going to waste time with this fucking matchup. What is there to tape? Chimaev choking people out easily, taking them down, ragdolling them. In certain cases against lightweights, former lightweights, kind of going life and death with them, against former welterweights at middleweight, going life and death, possibly even losing the fight. Chimaev, the perception is if he cannot get that early finish, du Plessis might take over and start whipping his ass. Du Plessis is very much like the opposite of Chimaev, but the same. He is not visually appealing at times, but he just does. He just exists. He does so much at times that he overwhelms you with that stuff. And it looks god-awful at times, and it tricks you into thinking that du Plessis sucks. And it tricked me for the longest time. Like, I would watch this guy, and I'm one of the biggest haters. I was like, how is he winning these fights? And what I'm not realizing is that his presence is enough to just kind of intimidate you. The fact that he keeps coming forward, he hits ridiculously hard. Like, I joke and say that du Plessis is like literally the perfect human being. Like, he is jacked. He's a good-looking dude. Apparently he can sing, and he's fucking smart, and he's fucking funny, and it pisses me off. Like, who would not be jealous of Dricus du Plessis? And on top of that, he's one of the best fighters in the world right now. And if he beats Chimaev, there's probably no doubt that he has an argument to be top pound-for-pound champ if he beats Chimaev. The thing is, which one of these two's plot armor is going to fail? I think Chimaev has a lot going against him. I mean, I joke and I say, like, this is a mandatory vax main event, because if Chimaev gets sick, he's very unreliable. And yes, he does have that initial spurt of going for the takedown, But what if he doesn't get it? When round number 2 starts out. I know Dricus has looked bad against like Brunson. He's getting like ragdolled. He's looking god awful, but this is a much different version of Duplessis. Like each fight, he looks slightly less shit. And I say that out of like endearment, like shit as in visually, he doesn't look appealing, but what he's doing is like great. He finds a way to win the fights. I expect the same here. Like I cannot keep doubting Dricus, but truth is, this is a fight that it's Chimaev round number 1 or 2 by submission, or just Chimaev in the early rounds. Dricus takes over. Now, I think that's going to be the most common thing you might hear, because it seems to be the truth. Is Chimaev going to be able to out-wrestle Dricus for 5 rounds? I don't think he has that kind of cardio, and I think Dricus is the kind of guy that he's just so strong and muscular, and he might be able to actually stuff these takedowns from Chimaev and maybe even threaten a guillotine. Like I think Dricus is just so crazy in that kind of like, he doesn't care because he's so confident, like take me down, I'll survive. If I don't survive, whatever, but if I do survive, I'm going to come after you. I can see Dricus jumping for guillotine and actually threatening it, because fuck it, why not? He is very strong. I can see Dricus going for his own takedown and maybe even landing it or threatening it to the point that Chimaev rolls for like a Darce or an Anaconda, and Duplessis gets the side control and survives it. Like I can just see a ton of different scenarios where Dricus does something that looks god awful, but it's highly effective. So for that reason, I can't go against Duplessis, but I'm gonna actually say I'm gonna take Duplessis by TKO in the 4th round. I just expect this fight to play out like we expect it, like Chimaev looking good early, possibly getting that finish, but that big possibly is, if he doesn't get it, what next? And I do think that Chimaev winning the middleweight title would be the worst possible thing for the UFC, because he is unreliable. I know he is fighting in Chicago and in the US, but what if he can't? What if things don't work well with his visa? What if he, misses weight? Like he's just, again, highly unreliable. But just because of that doesn't necessarily mean he's not ready to beat the champ at this point. So there's a lot of doubt in this fight. Hardly did any tape on it because, again, any tape that I'm going to watch on this is going to like completely sway me into Chimaev. Like, yeah, of course he's going to take him down. I've been doing that shit forever. I'm never going to pick against Duplessis up until he starts like completely looking like absolute shit, or he gets a gut or something. The moment someone clowns on him, oh my God, maybe I should just wait. Like if Chimaev says something like, "You stupid," and then Duplessis starts crying, I'm like, oh fuck. He's done. He's broken. He lost his charm. But at this point, give me the colonizer here by TKO 4th round. I just I can't pick against him anymore. Like it's been my thing. Like I picked against him versus Sean the last fight. I thought Sean was going to look a lot better, and then he ended up looking better than ever and beat the shit out of Sean. If I pick him against him here, he's going to look probably better than ever. What if he knocks out Chimaev in the 1st round? Like I think Duplessis is at that point now where fixed nose, he can pretty much do whatever he wants, man. Like ever since he choked out Izzy, what a stupid fight. Like he apparently was winning the entire rounds, but yeah, after he choked out Izzy, I'm like, this guy can do whatever he wants. But yeah, give me Duplessis by TKO in the 4th round. I do think that he can survive. I think he is crazy enough, strong enough to just be so awkward that Chimaev will be getting those takedowns and he'll be able to get back up from the bottom and at least survive a bit. Because if Chimaev doesn't take your back, what more can he do? He's not gonna rear naked choke you from the front. He's not gonna pound out Dricus. I think Dricus is strong enough to maybe push off, try to get back to the feet. Number one thing he can't do is give up his back. At that point, that's where Chimaev will go 100% on that choke, and whether it's like under the chin or not, it's not going to be good. And we don't want to see Dricus with that beautiful mouth getting broken. So give me Duplessis being smart here, winning this one by 4th. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, do all that jazz. Primarily with the 2 fights at the end, the co-main and the main. What are your thoughts on that? Like, are you expecting Aaron Pico to look like everyone's expecting him? I do think that should be a lot closer, given all the circumstances around him, but I think he does have a good chance to really show how good he really is. It's just, again, things have to go well for him. I know he's looking in really good shape. I just worry about him being a little fragile. And then the main event, of course, let me know what you think about that between these two men with the, again, biggest plot armor of the two company. Like, these two guys aren't in the losing business. So, Johnny Tigerbomb, I will see you next week.